Shameless. United in the Europa League. Europa League. We tell them one time and we say Europa League. Europa.
Manchester United get the victory against FCSB in the final game of the Europa League phase in Romania. It's goals from the likes of KOBBIE, Mainoo, as well as goals in the first half as well. And I tell you what, not bad going, was it? Not bad going by Manchester United. Second half was actually quite nice to watch, which is a rarity for Manchester United. Largely comfortable. Should have won by more, really. Let's be honest, actually. Should have won by more goals. KOBBIE gets a goal and an assist. He done okay, didn't he? Yeah, largely enjoyable. Manchester United go through to the automatically to the next stage of the Europa League. This is the full-time view where members can call in and have their say. If you do wish to become a member, you can do so. Links in the video description. It's also pinned in the chat. You can also click the join button and you can get involved as well. Be sure to click the like button and be sure to subscribe. Let's get straight to the calls, shall we? Let's get straight to the calls. Let's start off with Chalaboy Comics, shall we? Good evening.
Good evening.
It was quite actually nice to watch at points for Manchester United this evening. A good 2-0 win. What did you make of it all?
Yeah, no, it was a good game, in particular the second half. I think the first half was, a little bit stale, a little bit dry, sort of like what we used to, where it felt like the emphasis was on structure and control as opposed to us trying to find those, those chances. And then when we made the substitutions, I think in the second half, I think Garnacho came on, Ahmad came on. It brought a lot more life into the game, a lot more running in behind. So I like that. That being said, what I have noticed in this game and also in the previous games, like against City, against Arsenal that we've won, is that our best football comes in transitional moments still. That's where our strength lies. And I feel like maybe that's what's Amorim's challenge now, is because under Ten Hag, he overweighted the transitional moments. He wanted us to be all transition all the time, which made us highly potent, lots of threats, but at the same time, made a lot of hard work with us running all the time and people attacking our goals. Whereas Amorim has come the other way, where he's like, I want slow, patient build-up, and the transitional moments we're not necessarily finding. So what I want from him now is to have a way to bring that balance a little bit better, where we're still a transitional threat, whether it's through the high press or whether it's through winning second balls, or from a corner or set piece, attacking quickly. And I think recognizing those moments to speed up, to slow down, to switch the play is something this team is still getting a little bit familiar with. But I think overall, in general, that's where our potency, at least with this current crop of players, lies, is 100% in transition. So with the fact that we've added more balance to our game, more structure, more patience, we should have the energy to hit those transitional moments with a lot more force. But overall, I thought it was really good. I want to highlight Garnacho, Mainoo, and Dalot, and to an extent Martinez, who I thought were the standout players of today. But yeah, clean sheet, 3 points. We're into the next round. Can't complain about that.
Can't complain about that. Obviously, there's been so much talk, hasn't there, about KOBBIE Mainoo in the 10, put KOBBIE in the 10. How did you think he did this evening? And do you think that is an option for Amorim moving forward? Or was it just one game? Got to take it steady.
So let me just say I was happy to see him in the 10 because Owen, as an African, whenever you're watching, football, at least for the recent years in European football, there's this sort of a trend where if you're strong, athletic, and technically good, for whatever reason, that you find yourself as a holding midfielder or a defensive-minded player. It happened with John Obi Mikel. It happened with Yaya Toure. It happened with Paul Pogba. And you start to think, is it a color thing? Is it a color thing, right? And to see KOBBIE Mainoo finally get his chance in the 10, where you can actually bring his smart cleverness and his ball skills closer to goal, makes me feel happy. Now, when I judge his performance over the course of 90 minutes, I feel like in the first half he was still playing with a central midfielder's mindset. And what I mean by that, he was sort of like waiting for the ball to come to feet, not making too many runs into the space. Or at least when he made those runs, it felt like he was like, oh, I'm actually meant to be running in this position, because Amram's 10s, sort of sometimes operate as wingers, right? And so in the second half, though, he started to recognize that a little bit better. There was a lot better link up with Eriksson and Garnacho and Bruno. So he grew into the game. So his first half performance, I'd say, was just above average in the 10. Second half performance is when he started like shining and actually linking up play. And I think that what contributed to that was just more intelligent ballers were next to him, and that allowed him to shine as well. So I liked it. I think we have enough players where we can experiment between Bruno deep or high, or Mainoo deep or high. So I think just as a footballer, he's very cultured. So whether it's in the 8, whether it's in the 10, I think he deserves a place in this team, at least just on merit, So it's exciting. I want to see it against better opposition. But I think it allows us to be a little bit more flexible with the lineup, knowing that he can play in the 10. I like this performance a lot.
And with Garnacho, obviously, look, there's so much talk about him with Chelsea, with Napoli. He came on, was involved, hits the post, gets an assist as well. Is this going to be one of those ones where it's like, this is why we can't get rid of him? Or do you think it's not going to really affect it all that much? What did you make of it all?
Owen, I want this performance by Garnacho and Mainoo, albeit against a side that's not very good, to serve as a reminder to us fans that we need to be outraged the fact that these guys are on the table at this stage of their career. The academy, and I've said it last time, the academy is there to bail you out in situations where you can't afford the high wages or the high transfers. And we have some of the brightest young talents that are performing at a high level, and we're considering selling them at such a cut rate, and it just frustrates me. I think that it shouldn't be a conversation. Garnacho has heart. Garnacho has mentality. How many times have we cried out for people who want to fight, who have that hunger, who have that desire? The total opposite of someone like Rashford. We have that in Garnacho. We're looking at the wrong academy player to sell. Rashford is the one. Ineos needs to be more creative, more take more responsibility in trying to get the harder players to sell out. It's too easy to just be like, oh, Garnacho will give us this PSR situation, or Mainoo will give us this PSR. No, you have to be skilled enough to sell and to get us under that balance, while keeping our best talents, right? Now, I'm not saying like I mentioned before, for the long term that we can never sell these players. Obviously, every player has a price at a certain point, but it's premature to sell them right now. It's absolutely premature. And I'm just glad that Garnacho has taken the criticism that Ruben gave him to show that, no, actually, I want to be here. I want to play good football, And so, yeah, it frustrates me a lot when I see, us being okay with this conversation, people saying, yeah, maybe 40, maybe 50. It's like, no. In 3 years' time, maybe we discuss this. Maybe we see his growth. Maybe we're talking about 60 million, but after 2 back-to-back seasons where he scores 25 goals, we're talking about 120 million. I'm not saying that that's his trajectory. Of course, I'm not an oracle, but it's just too early for a player of this quality to be on the transfer block, given the fact that he has heart, he has mentality, performs in big games, and from what we see, loves the club. So it's frustrating, and I think Ineos just need to, earn their money and find a way to be more creative in how they do these deals. But Garnacho and KOBBIE should not be on the table for this window or the next window, from my opinion.
And finally, we've seen actually in 2025, we've started to get actually more positive results, bar the Brighton result. I think someone put it in the chat there. It's like 5 wins and a draw and a loss. Not bad going. Are we slowly starting to see us going a direction that Amorim is hoping for, or is there still a long way to go?
No, we're definitely moving in the right direction. 100%. That's to be seen. That being said, I do believe, like I've mentioned before, that we're underperforming our squad level. There's no way this squad should be, 14th, 13th, 10th, right? So just the fact that we're climbing up the table and winning games, I think in general is just a natural progression of this team finding form. there still needs to be a lot better performances if I'm going to fully say, oh, we've turned the corner, or we've when we're now, looking like a team, to beat, right? I still feel we have good structures. Like we're solid. Our set piece defense still remains an issue, and players not recognizing when to speed the game up, and sort of, take that next step remains an issue. But I like what we're seeing. I wonder what Amarim's going to think about the fact that, from my eyes, I saw us take up a little bit of Ten Hag-like structures where you had Dalot inverted into the 10 and all that. It seems like Amarim may not like that stuff. So maybe it's just a case of us ironing out those specific details. But trajectory is in the right direction. It's just now, can we maintain the focus? Can we maintain the hunger? And can we maintain the fitness as a squad to continue this trajectory? So I'm positive about it, but there's still a lot of work to be done on the training ground for sure.
Absolutely. Big up Chalaboy Comics, as always, calling in, long-time member and contributor to this show. Big up to him. Be sure to smash a like on the like button if you haven't already. We're 2 away from 100, so click the like button. Let's see if we can get 100 likes, 200 likes. Some quotes coming out of the game. Diogo Dalot, facing Crystal Palace at the weekend, says we have to recover really quick so we can be ready for the game. Ruben Amram's been talking about automatic qualification, saying that is massive for us. The joy of winning, the feeling of winning, but we will have 2 weeks to prepare our idea. That is massive for us. Basically saying, look, less games actually is better for us. And to be fair, we have seen with Amram's time at United, albeit short, the longer he has between games, the better. It's no coincidence when we played Liverpool, we had a full week. Played pretty well. We played Arsenal in the Cup, had a full week. Next week, we'll have a full week until the Friday, which I think will help us too. So, less games is actually a good thing, certainly for us. Diogo Dalot, KOBBIE Mainoo has also said, I think you can see how good of a footballer he can be in all zones. His quality and his feet is important. He did a good game. And he also said, it's always special to score for this club. I'm glad I can help the team. Let's get to another call. Let's go to Amanor. Amanor, we're through automatically. What did you make of it all?
Oh, good evening, Owen. I'm in a relaxed mode.
Yes, yeah. Channel 906, Amanor, he's here.
Yeah, channel 906. Yeah, wrong channel, but there you go. If you know, you know. I'll be honest with you, Owen. I didn't watch the first half. I was at the gym, so I need to burn a few calories. But I'm so glad I didn't watch the first half, because second half I thought we really played well. And I'm not going to repeat what Chalaboy Comics said. I agree most of what he said, but I just want to pick up on 2 points. One is, I've realized Martinez is our trigger person, the person that I can't describe it, but he's the guy that initiates the attack. So what Chalaboy Comics was saying, that the transition, yes, we need to move away from transition, but going forward, if we want to score goals from build-up play, I think Martinez is such a key person to that, and it's something that I'm spotting now, and I think that's something that Ruben Amorim is working on. I don't know if you spotted that, Owen.
Yeah, well, certainly in the first half, we wouldn't even see it in the first half, but he was a couple of times carrying the ball forward, putting the ball over the top to try and find Haaland, or to try and find Malacia, or try and find KOBBIE. And actually, I think that's what we've seen in the last few games. I mentioned this during the match view, that we are starting to see him settle in to playing that left centre-back position much more. I think initially, he really struggled to adjust, and he wasn't having a good season anyway, because he wasn't doing great in the back four when Ten Hag was here. But you can see him, I think, getting more comfortable playing there, and like you said, carrying the ball forward. And we know his range of passing is good. And he's always got that ball over the top. And he's done well, actually, the last few games. And that's good, because there was a lot of pressure on him, because we were going, look, he's not playing very well. Now he's starting to get better. I think there is still concern with him with the height stuff from set pieces, you know, those kind of things. But if we've got a lot of the ball like we did today, then obviously he's a really valuable asset. A lot of people talking about KOBBIE in the 10. Did you see enough of a reason to continue in that position?
I hope so. I hope the manager... I think KOBBIE in the 10 has worked really well, not just because I think that's his better position, but because in the Europa League, the game's a bit more open, a bit more slower, I think, compared to the Premier League. So because he's got more space and it's a bit slower, maybe slower is not the wrong word, he can influence the game more on the 10. I'm hoping Amorim takes that board and applies it to the Premier League, but I'm just not sure with my manager on this point because he's got this thing with KOBBIE whereby he wants to put him in the 6, and I don't think 6 is his best position. So I just hope the manager takes that forward. And just one last point, Owen, because I know you got other calls you want to take. Have you noticed so far this season because the way Amorim plays, we've had less injuries compared to like Tottenham? I don't. No one's picked up on this actually. We've had few injuries.
Certainly. Yeah, it's been certainly as it was an epidemic under Ten Hag, wasn't it? And I think that's because of rotation, and maybe you're right in terms of the style of play too.
I think this is where you got to give credit to the manager and the coaching staff, whereby they're not focusing on like transitional football where you're running up and down and you got the 3-1-6 people and their positions, build up play. And I think it's led to, I can't prove it to you. This is my anecdotal evidence, but I think because of that style of play has led to less injuries.
No, I think that's probably, certainly, it's been the usual suspects, hasn't it? Mason Mount, but not certainly to the extent of, under Ten Hag, where it felt like every other day, every other game, you'd have someone drop out. Just finally as well, Garnacho came on second half, impressed. Is that enough of a reason to keep him, do you think, or where do you stand on all of that?
I'm an emotional guy, to be honest. I do like Garnacho, but I think if 60 plus came in for him from Napoli, and we knew, sorry, there's a caveat to this, and Ineos said, right, we're gonna get that cash and spend it on an upgraded player, I would vote for that, but I don't trust Ineos enough to do that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, what is going to be really interesting with it is that if that does happen, again, like you said, what do we do with it towards the end of this January window? There's not a lot of time left, is there, as well? And you wonder, do they then go, oh, we'll save that for the summer? Do you trust them to save it for the summer? That feels quite Glazerish, isn't it? Oh, we'll save it for a rainier day. I don't know. It's certainly an interesting one indeed, but we'll see.
Thank you,
Aminor. Big up, Aminor. Appreciate you always. I tell you what, the chat was moving wild as well. Where's the man Chikushina who said that Aminor was sitting in the Titanic painting pose? That is one of the most outrageous comments by the man Chikushina. And who was saying, Leo said it was pillow talk. And I was listening to Aminor talk, and I was seeing these comments coming, and I was really struggling to keep it together. Really struggling to keep it together. Oh my god. That was difficult. That was difficult. The Titanic painting pose, that is like compose yourself, Owen. Compose yourself. Right, let's go to another call. Let's go to Amarose. Let's go to let's go to Connor. Connor,
Owen,
what did you make of what you saw this evening?
in the Titanic remake or in the match?
Focus on the match. I mean, if we talk about Aminor, we could go on for 45 minutes. So yeah, what did you make about the match?
To be honest with you, I think in the first half, it's just been the story of our season in the first half all season. I saw us start in 36 games. We've only scored in 12 matches in the first half all season. It's been the story of the team this season, not being able to do anything in the first half and relying on the second half to do a good job. But from what we did in the second half, we played well. We had Mainoo, when he switched sides, when you watched him on the left-hand side and then you watched him on the right, in the first half, he was off to the left, wasn't he? When you watched him go out to the right, he played better because we had Garnacho and Ahmad on the pitch to help spread the play wide, allowed him to get into more passing positions, and then also allowed the team to play higher up the pitch more effectively. It was good to see.
Yeah.
I have to pick up off what.
Do you think he's going to play there against Palace? Do you think that's going to be a thing for him going forward, or
I'd like to see it?
Europa?
I think I'd like to see it. I think it would be good for him if we could have another player that can play in that 10 and actually offer us something. Because when I watched him today, it was a performance I haven't seen all season from someone in the 10. Because when you have Bruno in the 10, he's looking for the magic passing behind. When you got Ahmad there, he's looking to run with the ball wide. when he's there, he's looking for the link-up play. He's looking to progress the team. He looked more like an actual Ruben 10 than anyone else has played there all season.
Yeah.
But with the rotation that Ruben does, I'm not sure if he'll start him there on the weekend. I'm not sure if he might just start Ahmad and Bruno there, Ugarte in the midfield again, and then Joel maybe bring him on at half time if things aren't going well, or in the second half.
Yeah. No, I
It
can see that.
it was a good performance though for players in the second half, and it's another reason why we shouldn't sell Garnacho.
I was going to ask you, where do you stand on this Garnacho stuff? Because I feel like after this evening, particularly the second half, people are going to be talking about that even more.
I shouldn't say this, but Joe, when he went down injured in the second half, I was happy a little bit in case he was injured, just so we couldn't sell him to Chelsea. I shouldn't be happy that our players are getting injured, but just because he shouldn't go to Chelsea, that just made me happy because we shouldn't be selling him to Chelsea. Like KG said it the other day, out of sight, out of mind, if he goes to Napoli, then sure. If he's in Napoli, out of sight, out of mind. But we're selling him to Chelsea, no chance. We need to keep him. He's going to be
firmly against it then. You're firmly against, particularly in Premier League club as well, firmly against it. Even if the PSR, would help us and we could spend 180 million, is it not
the club spent 180 million? The club has spent 180 million before in the past, and we've lost out on it every time we've spent it. What's the risk in? Why would we sell a guaranteed future star of this club to go spend another 180 million on the likes of Mount, on the likes of Shaw, Martial, just likes of players that can be good for us but never available when you've got a player.
That's certain as well. Guaranteed future star, you're saying with
Garnacho?
Yeah,
he is. You can look at Garnacho and you can see, he's a guaranteed future star.
It's a big statement. When it comes to obviously with the strikers this evening, obviously people were a bit surprised to see Højlund start. What did you make of him? Where do we stand when it comes to our strikers at the moment, do you think?
We don't have strikers.
No.
We have a 9.5 and we have a WWE superstar. That's what we have. I feel like you're running two channels here at the same time now because you're watching WWE whilst watching United. That's all you're doing. You're just getting a bit of practice in, aren't you?
This is my life.
See, what you're saying, would you take him into WWE, Højlund? A nice little contract, do you reckon you can get him in there?
I think, the ironic thing is I'm not sure he's athletic enough. You know what I mean?
I don't think so myself. Because Joe, in the WWE, you need to be able to hold off a man, pick him up and throw him down. I don't even think Højlund can do that. I think he's just get bullied every time.
Yeah.
Security does he get pushed off by a big wrestler. That's all he's useful for.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But we need to carry on this form for the rest of the season, just going into games, keeping a clean sheet, and obviously winning. But I doubt we will. But that's till next time. Enjoy the win whilst it lasts.
Absolutely, indeed. Big up, Connor. Appreciate you calling in as always. He's a member of the Reckless delegation as well. I've done commentary. I've done comms with Connor before in the past. Good guy. So yes, Manchester United through. What does this mean for us? Does someone actually have who we could potentially play? Is that again? I'm still not completely sure how this all works. So does anyone know? You know what I mean? How all of this works? Who we're going to possibly be playing and when any of this is going to be happening as well? Ridwan's in the chat. He's Ridwan's my go-to. Ridwan's my go-to when I need any information. He's there. Says United will face either Real Sociedad, Galatasaray, AZ Alkmaar, or Midtjylland in the Europa League last 16. Right. That's some difficult draws there, isn't it? I mean, obviously, Real Sociedad, we had that a couple of years ago in the Europa, didn't we? We finished second in that group. We did go there and win. They beat us at Old Trafford with that ridiculous penalty. It was a Leach handball. It was a joke of a decision. Galatasaray last year, that didn't go well for us, did it? You'd be maybe looking at AZ Alkmaar or Midtjylland, possibly. But this is when it gets back into that territory. And when we were saying, we should be winning Europa League. We're going to be one of the best teams in Europa League. That's what it's going to be. But already, when you see some of those names, you go, I don't really want to go Galatasaray, or I don't know if I'd want to go to Real Sociedad. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you've got to do if you're gonna win the whole thing. That's those are the kind of stuff that you've got to do as well. So indeed, we shall see. Well, there you go. That is the full-time view for you this evening. A short, sharp, sweet edition with a couple of callers. If you watch this after the fact and say, hey, next time I want to call in, you can do so. You can become a member. You can click the join button, or you can click the link in the video description. What's on tap? Well, tomorrow, it's Friday. I tell you what, this week has flown by. Bloody hell. Tomorrow's Friday. We'll have the morning show. I'll be live 9 a.m. as per usual. We'll have an episode of the Trinity podcast coming out at 6 p.m. Flex, KG, and myself. Hey, I tell you what, we're on a bit of a roll, aren't we, in terms of winning matches? The Trinity match view, that's going pretty well. We'll be back to normal at the weekend. It'll just be KG and myself. I honestly, you won't want to miss Sunday because I have no idea what condition KG and myself are going to show up, like really tired, really, really tired. I mean, I've done it before. I'm kind of used to it. I don't know how KG's going to be moving, to be honest. So that's going to be fun on Sunday. But yes, tomorrow we'll have morning show. We'll have Trinity. I'm just trying to think if anything else is coming. Saturday, we'll have obviously the match preview for the Palace game. In addition to that, we'll have the full view. And then Sunday, of course, it will be match day. And on Saturday evening, I will be live on my channel, OWEN Wrestling News 365. The link's in the video description. Someone will put it in the chat with KG, that comedian. And we'll be doing a Royal Rumble watch along live. It starts at 11 p.m. UK time, so we'll be live at like 10:45 to run through the card, give some thoughts, and then watch the Rumbles. I've got some fun stuff planned for that. Indeed, I'm gonna get a Royal Rumble countdown. I had it last year. I need to figure out how to make it work because the thing's a little bit different. But last year when we did it, I literally had a Royal Rumble countdown. And we'll have that. So it'll be a lot of fun, but that's on Saturday. Still got to do a load of stuff first. Anyway, guys, have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, fresh and sharp for 9 a.m. for the transfer view. I'm out of here. Peace.